y'all, I am back with another video, and this time I am going to go ahead and discuss with y'all the movie Life. Many people have seen Life. I've seen Life a couple of times, but as I watched it this go around, I was, looking at it from a more kind of like analytical standpoint and like looking for the themes, the trends, and all of that stuff in the movie. So it was really good. It's good to watch this movie with a different lens, outside of just an entertainment lens. And yeah, all I can say is it's a good ass movie, and the way the movie is executed, you wouldn't even realize the fucked up situation that they was in. Like, that's just how good of a movie it is and how well put together the movie was. And they had a great cast lined up. The movie stars Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, heavy hitter comedians at the time, then and now. They're legends, period, point blank. I keep saying this. I've been saying this for like a week now. Eddie Murphy is a freaking legend. They need to give him his flowers while he's still here, while they can, because that man is a legend, period. But I got some notes, so I'm gonna go ahead, flip it through my notes, and give y'all the rundown. So the movie starts pretty much with an explanation of how Ray, played by Eddie Murphy, and how Claude, played by Martin Lawrence, ended up in prison or jail for life, how they got the life sentence. So the story is pretty much narrated from a third person's perspective. Third person is Willie Long, played by Abba Babatunde, another heavy hitter actor out here. He the bomb. If you ain't seen none of his work, go ahead, look him up and look at his filmography. Really good actor. So the movie is told from Willie Long's perspective of how he met Claude. Claude and Ray, they came into the prison around 1932, and they've been there for 65 years. And when the movie opens, it shows two younger guys who have, I'm assuming, a life sentence. They're digging the plots and burying who are supposed to be Ray and Claude. But Willie Long is literally telling them the story of how they got there, they journeyed there, and how they tried to escape the jail. And it seems as if they couldn't escape and they ended up dying. But did they? When the movie first starts, you're under the impression that they died. And by the end of the movie, you're like, damn, they really was in here for life. They died in there. Until the very last 2 minutes of the movie, when they show us them celebrating their victory of finally escaping the jail at the Yankee Stadium. So the movie was rewarding at the end. It was a positive ending to the movie. It wasn't a dreadful, dang, that's messed up. They was, framed and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. It had a good ending. The movie overall, even though the backdrop of the movie was like, dang, they was set up, woo out the bam, it had a good ending. They was freed after 65 years, but they escaped. But let me go ahead and take y'all through the movie, because I kind of jumped ahead of myself. I got a little excited. I jumped ahead of myself. But let me back on track. So Ray and Claude unexpectedly come into each other's lives. These men don't know each other from a can of paint. So they interact with each other based on, one, they are both at the same club. Like, them meeting was like same place, like wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing. So it's just like them meeting just turned their life into a series of unfortunate events, pretty much. So to start, they meet each other at a club, bar, whatever you want to call it, and Claude is there celebrating with his girl because he just got him a nice banking job, and Ray is in the just doing what he do, pickpocket and trying to look for his next come up so he can try to launch his alcohol he be making, because he got dreams of owning his own bar and having his liquor being served there and everything like that. So they just in there living their lives, and they so happen to run into each other. Both of them get into a situation where they don't have money to pay the bar. So the bar owner is like, okay, I'm finna kill Claude, and I'm gonna kill you too if you don't, come up with my stuff. So Ray was like, hold up. Ray finessed it. Ray was like, hold up. You ain't gotta kill us. How about, I make that good hooch. How about you loan me a car, give me the cash to go pick up the hooch, and I can bring it back, and we can get us an operation going, and bam, that's how you're gonna get your money back. So the owner was like, you know what? Cool, I'll give y'all the chance. But if you fuck me over, it's your ass. So look here. All of this could have been avoided had Ray not tried to do what he does best. So they make it to Mississippi. They make it there live. They had to stop at a restaurant to get some food, but it was a whites only restaurant, and they from up north. They're from New York. So they ain't really accustomed to like racism and all that, but I'm assuming since they were from up north, they didn't see it as it wasn't as prevalent. Like, I guess you was in your certain neighborhoods and y'all was all black. I don't really know how it worked, how it was segregated back in the time, but from the way it was depicted in the movie, they were not used to racist encounters in that way. It was a different culture up north versus down south, and they neglected to pay attention to the whites only signs, and they almost got their heads blown off trying to get some pie. But they made it to get the alcohol. They got the alcohol, paid the man, everything like that. Ray says, oh, let's go celebrate. We made it. We about to be rich when we get back. All this, what man? Claude, the one who's always, the uppity one, the goody two-shoes, he like, no, let's go. Come on, bro, you trying to do too much. We came down here to get the liquor. That's what we did. Let's go. But Ray didn't want to listen, and Claude was like, well, since you're going to stay, I'm going to come watch you. Okay. Now, Ray, doing what he does best, thinking he was going to come in, play a few games, swindle, finesse, make them some money, gambling, all this other stuff that he be doing, pickpocketing. He tried to be sneaky and get over, but he got finessed in this situation. He came down south and they got his ass. You the man up north, but down south, they got you. So he was finessed and finagled out of his watch, out of his daddy's watch. And the man that stole his watch, okay, this is where the story pick up. So the man that stole his watch, for whatever reason, seems to have been in trouble with the police. And the police was like, I thought I told you to leave town, all this stuff. And he wanted to jump tough with the police. He slashed the man in the face. So the police kills him. Kills the man who stole Ray's watch from him. So Ray and Claude, they mad. They're like, I'ma find out who got my stuff, blah, blah, blah. So Ray, he going crazy, he trying to figure it out. He pissed. So they so happen to walk out, stumble. The man who stole the watch is now dead, and he falls onto Claude. And Claude like, what the fuck? This a dead man? I ain't never seen him like this. What is going on? And Ray like, this the man that took my daddy watch. So he's searching the man's body, can't find a watch. He like, dang, whoever, pretty much, he like, I'm out of a watch. So these white men come out of the woodworks like, oh, what y'all doing? It looked like he did, blah, blah, blah. So they call the police on him. So these Ray and Claude now get locked up for life because they was framed for murdering the man who stole his daddy watch. They ain't murdered that man. The police murdered that man. And the kicker here is, once they get to jail, the police officer who killed the man and knows he killed the man, talking about well, if y'all know y'all didn't do it, y'all should be fine, right? They go see the judge. The judge gives them life. And this is how the whole story is started. They were framed for a murder they did not commit. A police officer killed this man and framed them, and he knew it, and he let them go down for it, which is petty as hell. One, why? Because you know for a fact that they was never going to solve that murder. It was never going to be tracked back to you, but you decided to let these men take the fall for this death for what? Just because? That's bogus. And the movie literally highlights the fact that these men were in jail for 65 years for a crime they did not commit. And at the time, they didn't have no they didn't really do real investigations on murders and do no forensics and fingerprints and all this stuff and ballistics and how the bullet went and this. And, you know, they didn't do all of that stuff. It was a lot of he say, she say. Those white men found them there with the dead body, so they taking their word as GP that they did it. So these men went to jail for life for a murder that they did not commit. But yeah, the tone of the movie, they in jail for life for a murder they didn't commit. But along the way, they meet some good people, some funny people that they kick it with. And it just takes us on a journey of how they did not give up. They continued to persevere, and how they was constantly fighting to escape the situation. Some of the topics that were hit upon in the movie, it was racism, messed up legal system, I want to say. Illiteracy was another topic that was touched upon because of the time when Ray and Claude got to the prison. This one of the men that was there, he was saying he had been carrying this letter around because he couldn't read. And they like, can't none of y'all read up here? And they like, no, we can't read. Like, you know, whatever. So Ray reads the letter. The letter ain't nothing but bad news. All the letters talking about some your auntie dad, your mama dad, your sister dad, and your other sister dad, and your auntie Mabel. And like the whole letter was just a whole bunch of bad news. So they're like, anybody else got any letters they want us to read? And they like, everybody like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to hear nothing. Because the letter wasn't nothing but bad news. But they portrayed it in a comical way. Like, dang, none of y'all know how to read. And then the letter that they read for them was nothing but bad news. So they're like, anybody else got anything that y'all want us to read? And they're like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm glad I can't read because I don't want to hear none of that bull. So I appreciate the way this movie was delivered. This is my second time saying it. The movie was delivered really, really, really well. Another topic that popped up was one of the characters named Biscuit. He was a gay man. He had a relationship with Jangling, played by Bernie Mac. And Biscuit got the paper saying that he was about to be released. But Biscuit wasn't happy about it. And Biscuit wasn't happy about it because he didn't know how he would be received by society once he got out of jail. And he's like, my mama not going to accept me like this. And Ray was trying to tell him, like, boy, you got the best news that anybody in here could have ever got. And you sitting over here looking all sad and dwelling because you a gay man and you don't think you're going to be accepted by society. And he ran past the line and they shot him dead. And that was a very powerful topic that they covered. Being gay in society and not feeling like you have a place and feeling like you're going to be judged. He felt that it would be better for him to stay in jail, in prison for life, or than to go back or to kill himself. So since he was about to get free, he decided to let them kill him. And that's messed up. A lot of gay people in the world go through that, have gone through that, have had thoughts of like suicide because of how they were being portrayed and how they weren't being received and how they weren't accepted by society. But now a whole bunch of stuff has changed and there's lots of gay pride and gay marriage and all this stuff. So for that to be in the movie, this movie came out in 1999. So for that to be one of the topics that they touched upon in the movie was really good for the time, and just to make notice that that's a thing. And it was a thing that gay people have been around, and being gay is not something new. It was good to see that in the movie as well, and it be depicted in that way. Not depicted in the fact that he killed himself, but you know, y'all get what I'm saying. The fact that they threw that topic into the movie shed some light on it, because I know that hit home for a whole bunch of people that can relate to him. One thing I do want to make mention about in this movie, even though they were in jail for life, the living quarters weren't necessarily like jail, like it wasn't no gates and nothing like that, but they did have the line. If you cross the line, you're gonna die. But they had comfort food like biscuits, lamb chops. Like, they was eating some decent food in jail. They played baseball. They was able to have their families come visit. Not to say that they were living in some type of kumbaya. Of course, they were prisoners, but it was a little more free range. So they had a lot more room to move around and unlike how jail systems are today. So I did want to make mention, like, the way they was able to move around and kick it and kiki and actually kind of enjoy their time with the other people that's there with them I don't know, it was an interesting display of what life in prison or life in jail looked like at the time. But these men planned to escape. How many times? I wrote it down each time. The first time, Claude called his lawyer cousin to, get a pardon or try to, get his case looked into. It was denied. So that was try number one. Try number two, they both actually tried to run with this fake map that Ray made. What? So, two. Then the third time was through baseball. Can't Get Right was an extraordinary player, and Ray and Claude was like helping him, and they a scout head came out, and they was telling the scout, like, yeah, y'all need him, la la la, but if y'all take him, look into it for us so that we can get out. Can't Get Right actually got freed, but they did not. So that was 4 that they did not get out of jail. And then Ray had a plan that they could try to escape by plane, and Claude was like, no, I'm not doing that with you. So Ray tried to escape by plane, and the very last try was by fire, and they succeeded. And that's how the movie ended, with them dying in the fire. So these men had been plotting their escape for 65 years, and they finally accomplished it at about, I want to say, Ray was like, man, I'm 90 years old. Ain't nobody trying to plan to get out of here. Like, I ain't gave up, but I'm 90, And Claude was like, I can't believe you done finally lost hope, huh? Because from the beginning, I got a package. From the beginning, Ray was the one who was constantly pushing for them to try to get out and escape. And Claude was like, no, man. Claude would go along when he could and when he would, but at some points he was just like over it, pissed, not trying to get free. So it was very, very, very rewarding to see that Claude's plan actually freaking worked. It was so rewarding to see that. A plan that worked. And I love how they didn't tell us what the plan was until it was executed. So they let us believe that they done died in the fire and all this other stuff. Until the last 2 minutes of the movie, y'all. Until the last 2 minutes of the movie. Wow. Like, if you have not seen this movie, the movie, it's a comedy. So it's Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy, for God's sakes. It's a comedy. It's a whole bunch of funny scenes and stuff that happened throughout the movie that I didn't address because I don't want to spoil the movie, or I don't want to just be telling y'all the movie. I want to, give y'all my thoughts and analyze and commentary. But it's a good movie. Go watch the movie. It's hilarious. The jokes are funny. They got lines and stuff that you just randomly say, like the upper room. Like, it's a good ass movie. I usually don't rate the movies, so I'm not going to rate the movie, but yeah, this is a good movie. Oh, I failed to mention, they did get justice. So the man that had them in jail for life, oh, this was a very important part that I almost forgot to tell y'all. So Ray and Claude, as they got up in age, they were moved to the superintendent's quarters. So they was like tending to the superintendent, like cleaning his house and helping him and stuff like that. So the superintendent was getting up in age too, so they had to find a replacement. So they brought in the new superintendent, and I'm guessing like it was like a training type of thing. Guess who the new superintendent was, y'all? Guess. The new superintendent was the man that framed him for the murder that he committed. Claude, when he picked him up from the station, knew who he was from jump. And Ray like, how you know this that man? And Claude like, it's just some faces you do not forget. Ray knew it was the man when the superintendent pulled out his daddy's watch. And Ray lost his shit. He like, man, that's where you get that watch from? And the man came with this old lie. His wife got it to him or something. And Ray was like, about 40 years ago. And he was like, yeah. And Ray was like, oh, is that how you got that scar too? Because remember, I told y'all, the man who finessed Ray out of the watch whacked the police across his face and gave him a big ass gouge. So the man still has this scar the night that he's got the watch. So Ray knew that was his watch. So Ray was finna shoot the man. Because he like, nah, at this point, you had us in jail for all these years. You was the one behind it. And you let it go down. I'm about to shoot you. So the other superintendent, like, if you shoot this man, I'm going to have to shoot you. Like, just don't do it. And Claude was like, nah, I want to see this man dead too. But Ray, I don't want to see you go down with him. And the superintendent, the almost new superintendent, or the police officer that framed him, he said something smart to slick out the lips. And the other superintendent was like, is this true? And he like, what difference does it make? The state of Mississippi done got 40 years of cheap labor. And Claude, that's what happened. He had said that, and Claude was like, you know what? Give me the gun. I'ma shoot him. And the police officer that framed him was pulling out a gun to shoot Claude and Ray, but the current superintendent shot the police officer. So he killed them. He killed them on their behalf. And he was so apologetic. And once he realized, like, damn, I know I can't get y'all 40 years back, but I'm going to get y'all pardon papers. So at this point, I'm thinking like, oh, well, since I knew the movie, but, you know, first time watching it, I'm like, dang, yeah, they finally going to get free. They'll get their pardon papers. No. Why the damn superintendent down the toilet? This man died on the toilet, so they never got the pardon papers. So they did another 20 years. Another 25 years. So they was there for, at this point, they had been there for 40 years. And they ran away finally after 65 years. So 20 more years had passed since it was discovered that they actually didn't kill old dude. So yeah, the movie is crazy, man. It's not a heavy movie at all. The topic at hand is a heavy one, but they did a really good job at portraying Black trauma, but not displaying it in a way that is traumatizing. Because today they want to show us Black trauma, and it's traumatizing. They've been showing us some stuff that I will not watch again. And I'd be mad that I watched it the first time. Like, I could have went my whole life without seeing this. And I really hate, this is off topic, but I really hate how they are constantly portraying and depicting this police brutality and how we're being murdered by the police day after day and things like that, and how they keep putting it in movies and trying to make a quick buck off of it. We're tired of seeing it. I don't want to see that. Spike Lee recently came out with a movie about it, and of course it's a Spike Lee joint, so you know I ain't watching. I don't plan on watching it. But they said pretty much the movie was supposed to be like a switch in how the Black people stood up and was like terrorizing police or something. But then at the end, they punked out or some shit. Some stupid shit. Like, if you gonna show a revolution, show a fucking revolution. Don't show a punk ass revolution. Don't give us hope and then snatch it. Like, that's the type of stuff I don't like. So with Life, it was a trauma, but they did it in they showed it in a way in which they won in the end. But I don't know. Life is a good movie. It was about a trauma, Black trauma, but it was executed well in a way that you could rewatch the movie, enjoy it, laugh, and feel happy for Ray and Claude in the end, because they them niggas. They finally came up with a plan and got freed. So yeah, thank you to those who requested this movie. I hope I did it justice. As always, drop some movie suggestions down below, and I'll see y'all next time.